amazing. Appreciate the support. I just want to always, as every time, cat's coming in for a little. So, little hello. Just want to thank all the Facebook subscribers that have come on, checked out the channel. As I said, I don't do a lot of filming, but when I can, I jump on and say a quick hello, share my thoughts, and hopefully inspire, help some people out there that are trying to get stuck into some fish. Now, we have some quality fish around locally. I was going to touch on the weekend rep. Now, I know it's only Sunday morning, and I reckon there's plenty of people on the rock walls right now, plenty of people looking at tonight, and also lots of eager snapper chasers going on the hunt tomorrow. But the weekend is very fascinating when you're looking at Fishing Metro and how quickly the conditions can change, and how some days you just think, I'm not going to catch a fish, and the fish are on fire another day, and vice versa. And that was the case yesterday. Really, pretty much no wind in the morning. Really, light swell. Good looking water though. The open beaches at the moment, they're really hard to fish, and that's because that front section's quite shallow. The sandbar's quite a fair distance away, and those waves are breaking for many outside casting distance. It's just really not fishable at the moment this time of year. Generally, it will shift, and that front gutter will actually deepen out. It'll form a larger hole as such for the bait fish and the predators come through. But for whatever reason this year, we just haven't had the structure, hasn't formed. The swell and the winds and the fronts that we do get there, they definitely do help to shape the beaches. But the open beaches have been absolutely hard work. So yeah, yesterday I ventured out with some crew. We planted ourselves right next to some reef, and it said the water was quite calm, and I was pretty much, I was expecting some herring, maybe some sand whiting. By the way, we could not find a sand whiting yesterday, and that's going to follow on to today's adventure and why sand whiting is so crucial off our metro beaches. But yesterday it was very calm. I had high hopes of chasing some herring with the conditions, obviously, for the national comp I'm in. And I did get stuck into quite a few herring on the little CID Chrome Sprat. Great lures. Definitely one to have in your tackle kit if you are looking at throwing lures around. Again, Taylor, Skippy, herring, flathead, they catch a massive amount of species off our WA coast. So a really good lure. So yeah, but the interesting thing happened. Obviously, we had the high tide before sunrise, which was fine. So we had slack water. And the herring, you get the herring in patches. So probably 20 minutes, probably 7:30 to almost 8. They were quite ravenous and they were hitting lures. And then, how you going? How are you, mate? Happy Sunday. And then all of a sudden they just moved on, which is again very typical for they're a schooling fish like Taylor and many other species that we target off Perth metro waters. And then a couple of crew decided to just move slightly away from the reef into some sort of sand holes and start throwing out. And again, I'm just going to keep banging on sand whiting, freshly caught sand whiting a few days earlier. They had kept, and they just chopped them in half. So they didn't throw them out whole, and so they had half heads and half tails. I think within probably 5 minutes, this school of Taylor just moved off the reef and just sat in this little hole, the sand hole, and I think they caught seven quality Taylor as I was packing up. I had to go elsewhere, unfortunately, but that's how it goes. And they got 7 quality Taylor on fresh caught sand whiting, which sort of between 40 centimeters up to 55. So I'd still call the 40s schooling fish, but some of the 55s definitely solid winter fish, which is really good. How you going, James? Happy Sunday. And then, so I was happy enough. I have a quiz for you. Cool. A question or a quiz. I'm not sure. Ben, you can ask away if you like. I'll try to read the comments as I'm rambling on about fishing. And then today I woke up this morning about 5:30 and northerly winds. I don't like northerly winds off our open beaches. For me, that side current is horrible. It's absolutely horrendous. And then that stringy weed gets ripped in as well. Who died from cancer? Today is Saturday. Okay, cool. Ben, I'm not too sure, buddy. So locally this morning we had probably a 20-25 knot northerly. I was pretty hesitant to go down, but it was very fishy. A lot of, cloud, a lot of swell, a lot of white water. So I ventured down with a few crew. And again, I had some herring that I caught yesterday. I brought them down. Didn't get a bite, didn't get a sniff. It was very interesting. Did not get one touch. I think I had something pick up my bait at one stage, but it's hard to say. So much current and swell. And the crew was weird. I haven't got the pictures that I'm hoping. I've asked them to send me through. Some of these tailor were absolute, so healthy, so fat. And again, they were all caught this morning on freshly caught sand whiting. So the moral to this weekend is fresh bait is key, and just get out there and have a crack if you can. So look, really good signs that these tailor are still around locally. I think they might I would anticipate they'll push out tomorrow with that, that swell increasing, with that westerly wind's going to be raging. But personally, as soon as that weather slows down, I'm going to get myself down with the sabiki rigs. I'm going to go stock up on at least 5 to 10 lovely sand whiting. How you going, James? And hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. And I'm going to store those sand whiting because personally over the years, I've always used sand whiting, but it just was very evident this weekend, especially sand whiting, it just killed it. The tailor just smashed those fresh sand whiting. And again, that's what swimming off the local beaches. So, for me, it makes sense, to obviously use those sand whiting that are swimming around for those predators. But some really good, healthy tailor this weekend. So, again, just if you can get out there, put the time in, you're going to find fish. I would absolutely anticipate 100% that the snapper are going to be cruising the rock walls today, tonight, tomorrow as well, which will be really good for the snapper hoppers. And then I think the weather starts to shift probably Wednesday, Thursday. It's, it slows down, the wind slows down, the swell drops, then it actually creeps up again on Saturday. We've got our full moon Friday, so that's going to be a bit interesting. Whether the weekend's going to be absolutely lifeless, dead, because we've had the full moon on the Fridays. It usually does. The moon phases, from memory, over the last couple of months have actually fallen over the weekend, which has helped the weekend crew. But I think this full moon is next Friday, so we'll have the moon up in the sky on the weekend. But again, depends on the cloud, depends on how much swell we're going to have Saturday. But I think really, if you're looking to head out next week, pick your weather windows. It's winter at the end of the day as well. If you don't like to get wet and stand in that wind with the swell, I think, if you can go get yourself some fresh whiting, store it, and then take it down, when you can get down and have a longer session, I think you'll be in the game. So just proved to me over the weekend, again, a couple of factors: persistence, time on the water, fresh caught bait, and these anglers put themselves in the game. I said I was enjoying yesterday. It was completely different. Obviously, yesterday, no wind. The swell was quite low, and I was able to work those little CID sprats and shiver sticks through the water. Just gentle twitching. I'm hoping to get somebody to come down with some cameras and we can actually film this, because it's really hard, I think, for all content creators. They want to obviously share their passion. They want to obviously educate at times as well. But you're so, as a fishing niche, you're so governed by the weather, and you can't always go out and fish and demonstrate how you go and approach your session. So it is tricky. You are limited, and again, especially winter, it's really, really tricky to get out there and film and show what you want to show to your audience. But hopefully, if we do get a weather window and get someone down with some cameras, we will actually show you how these lures work. Because I think a lot of people, and I've been guilty at, over the years at times as well, you just want to really rip that lure through as fast as you can. And obviously, that does work in certain situations. If you've got a school of salmon on the top of the water busting up bait, you want to, rip that stick bait or metal slice through the school and get their attention, absolutely. But, when you're sort of like hunting and foraging or just sussing out what's in the area, I find when you do a gentle twitch, or even like with a twisty, if you actually throw it out, cast it out, and let it bounce on the sand, create that disturbance, and let it flutter back down, you pick up a lot of flathead, a lot of skippy, a lot of fish, that are just sort of mid-water. And with those tailor schools too, so they're schooling fish, so they're constantly moving up and down the water, the beach, looking for food. So if you're ripping that lure through and you're not giving that school of fish enough time to come back through where you are to actually see the lure. So actually a lot of the time, pause the lure for, even sometimes 30 seconds, a couple of twitches, really, really keep it in the area that I want it for as long as possible. And a lot of the time that when you do start to pause it, it actually comes on, grabs it, and happy days. But as I said, pretty quiet weekend for me. Managed to score some points. So if you are in WA and you are sort of a competitive person and looking, getting into a comp, there's a national fishing comp. It runs for 12 months a year. Women, they have a monthly comp that's associated with it. And there's actually a junior comp starting in August, which I'm going to get my daughter into. She's absolutely keen as. to join the comp, and all the points collaborate and as a collective are, it's state versus state. So you jump onto the Australian Real Gauntlet on socials, check it out. It's a little bit, it's about a couple of hundred, I think, to join, but well worth it. It's a lot of fun. And again, I'd love to see WA take out the national title. I don't think we will. We've got a very small team of anglers. Some of the states like Victoria and New South Wales have got a huge list of gun anglers. So we'll give it a crack. We've held the lead for 6 months thanks to the herring, and I think that's the biggest reason. One of the biggest reasons I've joined the comp was just to show that, because to make it even, they've actually, like your herring, your sand whiting, your bream, and smaller species actually score higher points per centimetre as opposed to your mulloway and snapper and your larger trophy fish. So it's quite, interesting. But I said my herring catches for the last 6 months have kept me sort of up at the top at the moment, but it's a long race still. We've got till the end of November. So if you are interested, jump on the Australian Real Gauntlet. Check out the socials. It's run through the Women's National Fishing League. It's an amazing organisation trying to get more women, young girls into fishing in the community and make it an even playing field, which I think it's only fair. What are these cats doing? As I said, pretty stormy out there now. Tomorrow it's going to look, it's going to ramp up the swell and wind, and I would expect to see plenty of snapper being posted on our local fishing pages over here in WA Perth. As I said, probably the middle of the week, it'll slow down the weather. We've got full moon Friday. Saturday's a bit of swell, but we've got light winds Saturday and Sunday, so we'll see how we go. I was pretty surprised yesterday with the amount of tailor coming through this little sand patch on the right of the reef. And so a lot of lure guys got into some good fish as well yesterday, just skipping some surface lures across the top. So I think it's a good time of year to get out. I said what I witnessed this morning. Some of these tailor were very, very large, locally, very, very healthy, well-conditioned fish. So it's really good signs. Hopefully I get some pictures up and put them through. As I said, if you haven't checked out, check out the Facebook page as well, my personal page. Do a little bit of posting on there, but I like to do the lives on here from now going forward. Anyone that's jumped on, I really appreciate it. I hope you've enjoyed a little chat. And as I said, it's all about time. And lastly, just want to thank all the content creators out there, making the time to create the content. It's not easy, and I think they should always be acknowledged and given credit where credit's due. On that note, time to put the rods away. Back to reality. I can't believe the weekend's already gone. Tomorrow's Monday. And time to get thinking about the next fishing mission. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again next time. Cheers.